Alright guys, today we are continuing on with lesson 9.5, starting with example 4, which is using the Pythagorean theorem. So it says approximate the distance between the points -4, -3, and 3, -5 to the nearest 10th. Okay, so they actually drew this out for us on a coordinate plane. Okay, so we can see that what they did was create a triangle. Okay, and to figure out how far apart they are, we need to find the hypotenuse of that triangle. Okay, so what we know is that our Pythagorean theorem, right, is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where a and b are the legs. So our legs here are 2 and 7, right, and I'm trying to solve for the hypotenuse. So 4 and 49 gives me, c squared, got ahead of myself. So 53 equals c squared. To get c by itself, right, we're going to take the square root of both sides. So c is equal to the square root of 53. Alright, so now we're going to tie this into what we were doing before, where I know that the square root of 53 is between the square root of 49 and the square root of 64, right, which is between 7 and 8. Okay, so I know my answer is between 7 and 8, and this is closer, right, to the 7. So I'm going to try maybe like 7.2, 7.3, okay, something like that. So if we multiply those out, 7.2 gives me 51.84. 7.3 gives me 53.29. Alright, so my answer, C, is approximately 7.3 units. Alright, same idea for those next problems. Okay, but here, obviously, we don't have the coordinate plane drawn. Okay, but that's okay. We can still solve this. Right, so if I'm looking at question 11, okay, the distance between -3 and -2 is 1. The distance between -1 and -2 is also 1. So I get 2 is equal to c squared. So c is the square root of 2. And I actually know what the square root of 2 is. Square root of 2 is about 1.4. Alright, so same idea here for 12. So distance between 1 and 5 is 4. Distance between -1 and 4 is 5. So 16 and 25 would give me 41. So 41 is obviously going to be between 36 and 49. So between 6 and 7, but a little bit closer to the 6. So if I solved this one out, okay, this one ends up being about 6.4. Alright, 13. Distance between 5 and 9 is 4. Distance between 4 and 8 is 4. So 16 and 16 would equal 32. So this would be between the square root of 25 and the square root of 36, right? So somewhere between 5 and 6, right? And it's a little bit closer to 6, it ends up being 5.7. Okay, and then last one there, 14. The distance between -7 and 3 is 10. Between 10 and -5 is 15. So 1 100 and 225 would be 325, which is actually, I believe that is a perfect square. Almost. So this one ends up being 18, right? 0.0. So 18 was the closest that we could get to for that one. Okay. All right. Example 5 gives us the equation d squared equals 1.37h. Okay, represents the relationship between the distance d in nautical miles. You can see with the periscope, and h is height in feet of the periscope above the water. About how far can you see when the periscope is 3 feet above the water? Okay, so let's plug into that formula. They told us that h was 3. So d squared would equal 4.11 when I multiply that out. So then d is equal to the square root of 4.11, which we know is going to be about 2. Alright guys, and that is it for today's lesson. So go ahead and log into Big Ideas and try out the